Bombay gives Ankita everything she thought she wanted. A bigger city. A prestigious institute. A new circle of friends. The feeling that she has finally entered the life she was meant to live. And then, almost cruelly, that same life begins moving too fast for her to hold. Welcome back. In this second part of Life is What You Make It, Ankita rises sharply, dazzles people around her, and then begins a descent that even she cannot understand while it is happening. Bombay is overwhelming, but Ankita loves it. The city is crowded, noisy, fast, and strangely accepting. She learns the local trains, the rhythm of commuting, the social codes of her new institute, and the thrill of being part of an elite MBA program. Her new classmates include Chaya, Digna, Uday, and Joseph. They come from different backgrounds, and the city seems to fold them all into its restless energy. At the institute, Ankita is made to feel special. The students are reminded how many people applied and how few were selected. It is a flattering message, and Ankita absorbs it. She has always been bright, but now she is in a place that rewards brightness aggressively. She throws herself into the course. She studies with unusual intensity. She makes elaborate notes. She runs. She competes. She performs. She is not merely doing well, she is racing ahead. But the book carefully plants signs that this rise is not ordinary confidence. Ankita's mind begins moving at a speed that feels powerful at first. She can study intensely, recall pages almost photographically, and produce work that amazes her teachers. She scores 98 out of 100 in information technology and is angry about losing 2 marks. That reaction tells us something important. Success no longer satisfies her. It sharpens her hunger. Perfection starts behaving less like ambition and more like possession. The danger is that this phase looks productive. Ankita is not failing in a way the world immediately recognizes. She is not lying in bed refusing life. She is outperforming people. She is making notes, scoring marks, running, speaking, writing, competing, and appearing almost superhuman. If a person collapses while visibly failing, people may panic sooner. If a person collapses while visibly succeeding, everyone may applaud the collapse until it becomes impossible to ignore. That is one of the book's cruelest observations. Ankita herself is seduced by the speed. She has always valued intelligence and achievement, so the heightened energy initially seems like an advantage. She can do more. She can think faster. She can hold more in her head. The problem is that she is no longer fully choosing the pace. Her mind is accelerating without brakes, and because the results are impressive, she mistakes loss of control for greatness. There are also sudden emotional surges. Ankita becomes aggressive without fully knowing why. She laughs at moments that disturb others. She senses, briefly, that something inside her is close to snapping, but she dismisses it. This is one of the saddest patterns in the book. Ankita is intelligent enough to notice that something is wrong, but she is not yet able to name it. And because she cannot name it, she keeps treating danger as mood, fatigue, or stress. At a cultural festival, the warning signs become more public. Ankita enters a just a minute contest. Under the lights, she feels an extraordinary rush. Thoughts swarm in her mind. Words come quickly. She performs brilliantly, But the energy is not stable. It is too high, too bright, too uncontrolled. Later, she takes physical risks and scares her friends. Chaya asks her not to do such things again. Ankita cannot explain herself. For the first time, she realizes she cannot completely trust her own behavior. That thought terrifies her. This terror is different from guilt over Abhi or confusion over Vaibhav. It is more basic. Ankita is frightened of herself. Until now, her self-image has been built on control. She is the girl who studies, wins, plans, leads, and decides. Now she has evidence that decision itself may be unreliable. She did things that felt exciting in the moment and alarming afterward. Her friends saw something strange. She saw it too, but only after the rush passed. The story makes this frightening without turning Ankita into an object of spectacle. Her behavior is dramatic, but the narration stays close to her confusion. She is not watching herself from a safe distance. She is inside the storm, trying to explain whether that changes every minute. This is where the story begins shifting from campus drama to psychological collapse. The change is not sudden in the way outsiders might expect. There is no single dramatic bell that rings and announces, "This is the moment." Instead, the book shows a build-up, sleeplessness, racing thoughts, intense productivity, emotional swings, impulsive behavior, and a growing gap between how Ankita appears and what is happening inside her. In class, she anticipates a professor's test questions and writes out answers in advance. Then she photocopies her answers and distributes them to classmates. In another context, that could be seen as confidence or helpfulness. But here, it is part of a larger pattern. Ankita is overflowing with energy and ideas. She writes excessively. She stays awake through the night. She begins composing long letters and poems. The mind that once made her exceptional is now becoming unmanageable. Grief over Abhi returns with force. She writes a 42-page letter to Suvi about him, pouring out memory, guilt, longing, and pain. To Ankita, the letter feels meaningful, sincere, necessary. Later, doctors will read it differently, as evidence of mania or psychosis. The book makes this contrast painful. What feels like the truth of one's heart can become, in a clinical setting, material to be examined, labeled, and stripped of its emotional dignity. Ankita's private grief becomes public evidence. This is one reason the middle of the novel feels so claustrophobic. Ankita's inner life has no safe place left. If she keeps thoughts inside, they raise and torment her. If she writes them down, they may be discovered. If doctors read them, they may become symptoms. If parents read them, they become reasons for fear and control. The very act that gives her relief, writing, also becomes a path through which others enter her private world. Her writing is not meaningless. The book never asks us to dismiss it as mere illness. It asks us to hold two truths at once. Ankita is genuinely grieving and genuinely ill. Her memories of Abhi are real, and her mind is also moving through an unstable state. The pain is emotional, and the condition is medical. Reducing it to only one side would flatten the story. Meanwhile, Vaibhav remains present through letters. Ankita begins writing to him too, but her emotional state complicates everything. At one point, she starts seeing him as a kind of stopgap relationship, someone whose words provide emotional payment when she feels empty. She writes poetry that expresses a damaged sense of self, comparing emotional need to being used. The image is harsh, and it shows how far her self-perception has fallen. She is no longer simply guilty over Abhi or confused about Vaibhav. She is beginning to feel hollowed out. Her sleep deteriorates badly. For weeks, she barely sleeps. Thoughts race like wild horses. She tries to calm herself, but the mind turns vivid, strange, and seductive. There are beautiful images, then frightening ones. There is energy, then exhaustion. Her room becomes messy. Coffee cups, papers, food plates, books, and notes pile up. The outer disorder mirrors the inner one. Still, her parents do not immediately understand what is happening. Why would they? To them, their daughter is brilliant, disciplined, and successful. When such a person begins to unravel, people often first interpret it as stress, moodiness, or drama. The obvious explanation is easier to bear than the frightening one. The family scenes are especially painful because no one has enough language. Ankita cannot properly explain what is happening inside her head. Her parents can see danger, but they interpret it through fear, respectability, and parental urgency. They want to save her, but some of their attempts make her feel more trapped. The tragedy is not that they do not love her. They love her intensely. The tragedy is that love without understanding can still wound. Then the private world is violated. Ankita's parents discover and read her letters from Abhi and Vaibhav. From their perspective, they are frightened and trying to understand their daughter. From Ankita's perspective, they have crossed into the most sacred private space she has left. They burn the letters, hoping to help her move on and become a new person. Instead, something inside her dies with those pages. The letters are not just paper. They are memory, love, identity, and proof that the life she lived before the illness was real. After this, the darkness deepens. Ankita hurts herself, not as a dramatic gesture for attention, but as a desperate attempt to turn invisible pain into physical pain she can locate and control. The book does not romanticize this. It shows the act as defiance, despair, and a sign of how badly she needs help. Her parents are terrified. They take her to doctors. The first psychiatrist, Dr. Mukta, gives medication, but it does not help. Ankita gets progressively worse. The first attempt at treatment also shows how fragile hope can be. Her parents place enormous faith in the tablets because they need something concrete to believe in. Ankita takes them, but she does not feel saved. When medicine does not quickly restore her, the household becomes a place of waiting, watching, and disappointment. Every day carries the question, is she better now? And every day that answer seems to be no, the fear thickens. Ankita also experiences the shame of not improving on command. She has spent her life being rewarded for effort. Study harder, score higher. Prepare better, win. But illness does not obey the same rules. She cannot discipline her way out of it. That mismatch between her old identity and her current suffering deepens her despair. One of the most painful parts of the book is how alone everyone is, even while living in the same house. Ankita is trapped inside thoughts and sensations she cannot stop. Her parents are trapped inside fear and helplessness. They love her, But their love does not automatically give them the right language. They urge her to be better. They hope the tablets will work. They believe a cure is around the corner because the alternative is unbearable. Ankita's condition continues to decline. On the outside, she looks unwell. Inside, she feels like death. She becomes tired of the struggle and concludes that there is only one escape. The book handles this material seriously and painfully. Ankita attempts to take her own life more than once. After one attempt, her father breaks in a way she has never seen before. He does not shout. He does not punish. His silence is worse because it reveals the depth of his pain. Ankita apologizes, and the apology is almost too small for what both of them are feeling. Finally, her parents bring her to a major mental health institute in Bangalore. This returns us to the prologue. The circle closes. Ankita waits outside the doctor's office, angry and cornered. She is asked questions again. She hates being reduced to symptoms and history. But this time, the doctors decide she must be admitted and kept under observation. To Ankita, it feels like a death sentence. She does not want to be there. She does not want to be locked into a place associated with mental illness. She still cannot fully accept that this is her life. The admission scene is powerful because it attacks Ankita's last remaining story about herself. She was supposed to be the exceptional student, the ambitious daughter, the girl who would conquer Bombay. Now she is a patient number. She is being placed in a room for her own safety. The distance between those identities is unbearable. The institute may be the place that saves her, but at first she can only experience it as humiliation and captivity. Then Dr. Madhusudan enters the story. His importance is not only medical. It is human. He explains what is happening to her. He tells her that she has bipolar disorder. He explains that the extreme highs, the racing thoughts, the sleeplessness, and the crushing depression are part of an illness. He discusses treatment, including lithium and electroconvulsive therapy. For the first time in months, someone speaks to Ankita as if she matters, as if she is not morally weak, not simply dramatic, not responsible for failing to snap out of it. That explanation is a turning point. It does not magically heal her, but it gives her a name for the storm. And names matter. When suffering is nameless, it feels like your whole self has become the enemy. When it has a name, you can begin to stand a little apart from it and fight. Dr. Madhusudan also tells her something honest. It will be hard. The feelings will come in waves. The forces telling her to give up will return. She must cooperate with the doctors. They are with her, not against her. Ankita clings to this hope with the desperation of someone drowning. That sentence, "they are with her," is the emotional hinge of the second part. Until now, Ankita has felt watched, judged, exposed, corrected, and cornered. Dr. Madhusudan reframes treatment as alliance. She is not being punished. She is being helped. Her mind is not a moral courtroom where she must prove innocence. It is a wounded place that needs care, structure, and time. The second part of the story ends here, in a private room at the institute. Ankita has lost the life she thought she was building. She has left her MBA program. Her letters are gone. Abhi is dead. Vaibhav is distant. Her parents are frightened. Her mind has betrayed her. Yet for the first time, there is also a thin line of possibility. The tragedy of this part is that Ankita's brilliance and breakdown are not separate threads. They are woven together. The same intensity that helps her soar also helps conceal how far she is falling. People praise the shine until the fire burns too hot to ignore. Thank you for listening. In the final part, we follow Ankita through the slow work of recovery, where healing does not arrive like a miracle, but one brush stroke, one conversation, and one ordinary day at a time. The second part ends with a diagnosis, but more importantly, it ends with someone finally saying, "You are not alone in this fight."